On the third day of my new life in Korea, my husband said to me one evening,
Honey, I have to go to the base next week to prepare for training. I'm so sorry, I know you just got here. Will you be okay on your own?
"Oh, I'm fine, I'll be okay." I said I was fine, but a part of me was crumbling inside. I had risked my life to cross over to this land, trusting only in the man I loved, but now he couldn't be by my side. We had promised to become one in marriage, but the reality felt like I had been thrown all alone into a strange new world. A kind of loneliness I had never felt before seeped coldly into my heart, churning with anxiety. Can I really make it in this unfamiliar world? As these thoughts swirled in my head, my eyes landed on the square television. I hadn't even seen a single South Korean news report yet. It suddenly occurred to me that the fastest window to connect with this new world was the TV. From that day on, the television began to fill the empty space my husband had left. My heart pounded as I picked up the remote to turn it on. I can watch TV in a language I understand as much as I want. What will Korean TV show? When I lived in North Korea, we could only watch Korean Central Television under the tight control of the regime. And even that was only broadcast at designated times. Having only ever watched state TV at set times, it was only after I risked my life to cross the Tumen River that I first encountered a world with dozens of channels pouring out at once. It was truly a new world. It was as if a window, once covered by a black cloth, had been suddenly unveiled, letting the sunlight flood in. Colors I'd never seen, sounds I'd never heard, a speed I'd never felt. For the first time, I felt the world change with the press of a single button. The first show I watched in China was a famous cartoon called Journey to the West. My Korean Chinese stepfather, who lived with my mother, would translate the cartoon for us since we didn't know Chinese. Thanks to him, I was able to enjoy the show, and my Chinese began to improve. That was when I first realized how tearfully happy it is to understand what is being said, to hear a language you know. But I had no idea back then that a much greater experience was waiting for me on the other side of that TV screen, one that would shake my entire world to its core. In that moment, holding the remote, the fact that I could freely watch television in a language I understood, without anyone's censorship or permission, it gave me a strange sense of emptiness, and I was so overwhelmed with emotion I could barely breathe. With an excited heart, I pressed the button on the remote. What filled the screen in that moment was, unexpectedly, a commercial for an American drama. The king of American dramas, OCN. What? American dramas? South Koreans can watch American dramas? In a familiar Korean voice, a completely unfamiliar world was opening its doors to me. American shows, which I couldn't even find in China, were being advertised everywhere here in South Korea. Can you really watch foreign shows without being punished? A lifetime of indoctrination collided with the reality before my eyes, creating a violent storm in my mind. My old thoughts shattered like pieces of broken glass, and through the cracks, I cautiously peered into a world I had never seen before. While my hand holding the remote froze in midair, OCN relentlessly continued to showcase its American dramas. My curiosity sparked, and I decided to choose one of them to watch. Which one should I watch first? As I hesitated, a particular title caught my eye: CSI Las Vegas. The trailer showed someone dying, and the word investigators piqued my curiosity. American investigators? Do Americans really torture people so cruelly? Since I was a child, I had grown up under repetitive and persistent brainwashing, especially about America and South Korea. America, in particular, was imprinted in my mind as a cruel and merciless country. So, I thought to myself, if it's about American investigators, there must be torture scenes. But then why do South Koreans watch this so casually? Putting my confusing questions aside, I waited for CSI Las Vegas to air. The drama began. Scene after scene passed. But no matter how hard I looked, the cruel scenes I was expecting never appeared. Instead, what I saw was the anguish, the empathy, the conflict, and the law of people trying to solve a case. What the investigators were chasing was the truth. But the truly shocking part was the backstory of each character in the drama. An investigator addicted to gambling, a single mother raising a child alone, an investigator burdened by his prestigious family of lawyers, and even the lab chief, who was the youngest medical examiner in his 20s. No one was perfect, but no one was cast aside. In North Korea, where your family background determines your entire life, these kinds of stories were unimaginable, but here, in an American drama, people's lives were being portrayed just as they are. The second shock was discovering that, unlike in North Korea, where the word of a 3-generation dictator is law, the world inside the American drama prioritized equality before the law. At the same time, I could see both the advancements of American society and the problems that existed within it. It felt as if every story was whispering to me. The world isn't just black and white. People can't be defined by a propaganda slogan. It was then I realized that for so long, I had been looking into a mirror someone else had made for me, believing it was the whole world. On the surface, the way people spoke seemed similar. Both in North Korea and in the show, the tone was direct. But the way they communicated was completely different. In North Korea, words were a shield for survival and a sword for attack. People's speech was followed by blame, criticism, struggle, and ideological censorship. It was a weapon used to shake and subordinate others. The dialogue in the American drama was different. Their words were a tool for conveying emotion, sharing wounds, and offering understanding, a tool for genuine communication. They didn't speak to dominate someone. They simply spoke to show who they were. A life where even silence wasn't permitted. The past, where I had to lock away my true feelings and thoughts in lies just to survive, flashed before my eyes. From then on, I began to carefully look into my own emotions, my own language, my own thoughts. It was the first time in my life that I had ever explored my inner self. And just like that, I began to slowly smell the scent of freedom. People often say, a drama is just a drama. But to me, this drama was the air that breathed life into me, and that air brought me back to life. To me, who had been in the huge prison of North Korea, unable to even choose how to live, CSI Las Vegas was the first window ever opened into my inner self and the first light that ever came in. After that day, I started watching more American dramas and movies. I'd never been there, but that one word had always been hammered into my ears: America. For the first time, I started to become curious about that country. I was now an explorer, sitting in front of the TV, asking questions to a new world and finding the answers for myself. What should I watch next? Ah yes, this is it. The next American movie I chose after CSI Las Vegas was